So good morning class
Good morning, sir.
and welcome to our history lesson, and I am your history teacher Roshan Pirki. So let me take help of the PowerPoint to conduct this class. So this is our history class. So class 7B, class 7B. And our subject I have projected it to you. History. So let's see. So here you can see Delhi. So my question is, what do you know about Delhi, or what do you know about the history of Delhi? Any student? Anything you know about Delhi?
Yes, sir. Delhi is our capital.
Very good, Pascal. Yes, Delhi is the capital of our country, India. And do you know anything about the history of Delhi? Anything?
Delhi has got many monuments, sir, like Taj Mahal, Jama Masjid, Qutub Minar.
Yes, that's excellent. Delhi has got a number of monuments. Some are in Delhi, and some like Taj Mahal is in Agra and surrounding areas. So Delhi has got its own history. Many rulers, kings and queens, they came to Delhi. Some were the local kings, some were foreigners, and then they ruled over this place. So in today's class, we are going to start a new chapter 3, that is titled The Delhi Sultanate. That's it, on page 30. So you take a history book and turn to page 30. That is titled The Delhi Sultanate. So the topic for today's class is the Delhi Sultanate. Topic, you take your exercise book and write it down. The Delhi Sultanate. So Delhi Sultanate is a huge chapter for us. It runs for more than 15 pages. But in today's class, we'll see part of Delhi Sultanate is a king, the first Turkish king who ruled from 1206 to 1210, that is Qutbuddin Aybak. So the topic for today's class is Qutbuddin Aybak, that is subtopic. Qutbuddin Aybak. So you write it down. So in different books you might find different spellings of this king called Qutbuddin Aybak, ruling from 1150 to 1210. So before we learn about the first Turkish king of the Delhi Sultanate, let's get introduced to the Delhi Sultanate. So as you can see in the slide, from 10th to 12th century, Tomara dynasty ruled over Delhi and surrounding area. So here we find that from 10th to 12th centuries, you had Tomara dynasty. Tomara dynasty that ruled over Delhi, and you will see this small part, Delhi and surrounding areas. And in present day, we find this part is Delhi and Haryana. Delhi and Haryana, you find small part but very influential part, dynasty. And then Anandapala, one Tomara was the founder of Tomara dynasty. And then during his important trade center, the commercial center, and it is also known for some inscriptions and coins, because we know as the business increases, there is an exchange system. Earlier we heard about barter system, but now they started minting coins, and there were some inscriptions. The inscriptions tell us about the culture of the place, the art and culture of the place. So this dynasty ruled for quite some time, 10th to 12th century, and then Anglapala Tomar was the last Tomaran king. So this is about the Tomar dynasty, and this is not only the dynasty. After this came the Chauhan dynasty in the late 12th century. We find in the late 12th century we have the Chauhan dynasty. Chauhan dynasty that ruled over Delhi and surrounding areas in the late 12th century. Though time was short, but they expanded their kingdom for quite some expanded quite largely. So today we find presently Rajasthan, Haryana, Delhi, Punjab, and some parts of Madhya Pradesh was ruled by this Chauhan dynasty, kings of Chauhan dynasty, and they achieved military success against several neighboring kingdoms. That's why they expanded. They fought against different kings and queens, local prince and princess, and then they expanded. As we have seen in Tomar dynasty, similarly merchants lived in Delhi and surrounding areas and constructed several temples. We find in India people are basically very religious minded. So as their business grew, people started living in areas, surrounding areas, they built temples to worship God. And then, as we have also seen in Tomar dynasty, coins were known as Deriwa, were minted in Delhi and circulated everywhere. Circulated everywhere is the exchange system, the money exchange system, business system. So this dynasty lasted till 1192. The Gurkhas defeated Prithviraj Chauhan, the second battle of the Rhine. So Prithviraj Chauhan was the main king of Chauhan dynasty. So this is the introductory part of the Delhi Sultanate before the Turkish kings ruled over Delhi. So let's now directly look into the early Turkish kings, that is Delhi in the 13th century. As you can see, Delhi in the 13th century, the early Turkish kings. So as towards the end of the 13th century, the Chauhan dynasty declined, and the Turkish kings, they took over Delhi and surrounding areas. So we have four major Turkish kings and kings. One is queen. So we find from 1206 to 1210, Qutbuddin Aibak ruled over Delhi and surrounding areas as Delhi Sultanate. Then second was 1210 to 1236, Shamsuddin Iltutmish, his son. Then we have Razia Begum, the queen, from 1236 to 1240 for 4 years, and then we have from 1266 to 1287 Ghazuddin Balban. So we see in this chapter Delhi in the 13th century. Delhi in the 13th century. Let me write this for you. The Delhi in the 13th century. So we find here three kings and one queen, and our topic for today is the Qutbuddin Aibak. So let me adapt this blackboard for you. If all of you have written this, I suppose. So I am running this off so that lived from 1150 to 1210, that's 60 years. And he was from the Middle East, and he was a slave. He was a slave of Muhammad Ghori, but because of his efficiency, he was so efficient that he was made the general of Muhammad Ghori. He became the general of Muhammad Ghori, and then after the death of Muhammad Ghori in the year 1206, he took over as the Sultanate of Delhi, because there were no appropriate or able successor of Muhammad Ghori. So this slave turned general took over the reign of Muhammad Ghori, that is of Delhi and surrounding areas. And he was very efficient person, very efficient king. So he conquered Delhi and Bengal and Bihar. He expanded his kingdom, and then he is basically known for commissioning the Qutub Minar in Delhi. You might have seen. How many of you have gone to Delhi? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's good. You have gone to Delhi, and have you seen Qutub Minar there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, very good. So, Qutub Minar is an important monument situated in Delhi that was commissioned, the construction of Qutub Minar was commissioned by Qutbuddin Aibak. So, we call it Qutub Minar. That, as I already mentioned to you, the Qutbuddin Aibak was the first Turkish king who ruled from 1206 to 1210. So, Qutbuddin Aibak is known mainly for commissioning the construction of Qutub Minar. So, for you, I have made a model of Qutub Minar. So, let me show you the model. So, here is the model I have prepared for you to help you to understand more about Qutub Minar and Qutbuddin Aibak. So, just observe it for some time. I am holding this model for you. I have tried to make it. You can also make at home one. Qutub Minar is not so difficult. If needed, I can teach you. So, just observe this carefully, and then we'll learn about Qutub Minar in detail, because when we say Qutbuddin Aibak, then we clearly associate Qutbuddin Aibak with Qutub Minar. So now let's see about Qutub Minar in detail. So this is my model, but here you can see different pictures. This different the pictures clicked from different angles. This is the full view of Qutub Minar. This is some inscriptions, Arabic inscriptions. Then you have some kind of balcony or terrace. It's beautifully constructed. And this is the top part of Qutub Minar, how it is constructed. It's not constructed in one shot, but it took several years. We'll see in detail in next slide. So Qutub Minar, this is a full detail about Qutub Minar. So about construction, we see about the construction. We see the foundation by Qutbuddin Aibak in 1199. When he was general, that itself, he was very influential. So he has already commissioned, foundation was laid, and then it is said that it is completed by his son-in-law Shamsuddin Iltutmish in the year more or less plus 1211. So it took more or less 12 years from down till up. You see 5 stories full. It took almost 12 years, 11 to 12 years. So what about the architect? We see that it is the synthesis of traditional Islamic architecture and South Asian, Western Asian design. So in our world, today's world, we can see this the hybrid architect, where there is a combination of Islamic architecture as well as the but they have done it. So now we see the height. Here let's see the height. Height from bottom till top is 72.5 meter. Total height is 72.5 meter. And then we have 5 stories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can count, you can see the 5 stories. And then what is used? Red and grey sandstone minaret. So you can see this more or less red and grey, the combination of red and grey sandstone. And let's see about the base. Base down here is 14.3 meter diameter. Total diameter is 14.3 meter diameter. And then at the top, the diameter is 2.7 meter. So how as it goes higher and higher, it becomes smaller and smaller, and that is needed for constructing a minaret. So as you can see here, we have the doors, big doors. We have total 379 steps in a spiral way. It's not straight as we see in our buildings, but it's spiral. It is going round and round and round. Now you will be curious to know about whether people are allowed to go inside. Allowed to go inside or not. As you can see in the slide, that till 1976, the general public was allowed access to the first floor. Up to first floor, people are allowed till 1976. Earlier in the olden days, they were allowed to go up also to top or something, but till 1976, general public were allowed. But there are several incidents of suicide and anti-social elements. So what happened? From 1976, they have stopped allowing the general public to go inside or go up to first floor. Now we can see Qutub Minar from outside. You can take photographs and do. So this is the in detail about Qutub Minar, and Qutub Minar is very much associated with Qutbuddin Aibak. That is the subtopic of today's class. So let me find out how much you have comprehended from today's class. I have, if you have any question before that, so you can ask me. Let me go back to the previous slide. Yes. So if you want to ask any question, you can ask me, or if it's clear, then we will go for comprehension test. Or you can take a few minutes if you have any question to ask. So if you don't have any question, then let's go to our comprehension test. How much you have been able to comprehend from today's class, how much you have learned from today's class. So my first question to you, if you know the answer, you can raise your hand and then you can answer. My first question is, which dynasty made Delhi an important commercial center? I repeat, which dynasty made Delhi an important commercial center? Any student knows?
No, sir. Forgot.
Okay, doesn't matter. So we saw in introductory part two dynasties, two Rajput dynasties. We say Tomara and Chauhan dynasties. They made Delhi an important commercial center. So second question will be easier is this: who built Qutub Minar? I repeat, who built Qutub Minar? Anybody knows? Can answer?
Qutbuddin Aibak, sir.
Very good. Qutbuddin Aibak built Qutub Minar. So you have comprehended well. The last question to find out how much you have grasped in today's class is this: what is the height of Qutub Minar? I repeat, what is the height of Qutub Minar? Anyone knows? Can answer? So it doesn't matter if you have forgotten. I am just repeating that the height of Qutub Minar is 72.5 meter. I repeat, the height of Qutub Minar Minar is 72.5 meter. So before I wind up this class with the homework, let me summarize today's class for you. So listen to me carefully as I sum up today's class in these 4 points. So Tomara and Chauhan dynasties made Delhi an important commercial center in the 12th century. Second, the early Turkish kings ruled Delhi in the 13th century. Qutbuddin Aybak was a general of Muhammad Ghori, and after Ghori's death in 1206, he ruled the Delhi Sultanate as the first Turkish king. And the last one, Qutbuddin Aybak laid the foundation of Qutub Minar in 1199, and his son-in-law Samsuddin Iltutmish completed its construction in 1211. So, in 4 sentences or 4 points, it's all about today's class. So, you take your exercise book and write down the homework I'm giving you. For your homework, there's 2 questions, you write them down, and then you can answer them, and later you can submit in my table in the next class. So, first question is, write a short note on Qutub Minar. Write a short note on Qutub Minar. And the second question is, narrate your visit to any historical place. Narrate your visit to any historical place. Any historical place you have visited, you write in your own words, maybe half a page or 1 page. So here we end our class. I will not write those questions for you here. On blackboard, you write them down in your exercise book so that you are able to answer them. And then you revise. You can take help of our history book. You can take help of our history book, or you can Google it, and then you can write your answers and submit it in our next class. So here we end our class. So still, if you have any question, you can ask me as I clean the green board. So let me find the queries. So it seems that it's very clear to you. If it's clear to you, so I wind up our class here. So thank you, class, for attending this history class so patiently, and see you in the next class. And I'm just leaving this model in the classroom itself with a monitor. It's there. Monitor, please take care of it. So if you want to see and observe this model, you can do so. So have a good day. See you in the next class. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.